Und dann kann man das schön sortieren. Warte, habe ich jetzt. Super.
Right, cold tires, be fucking careful. Seem to be gripping alright.
Hello, Mossy.
All right, Al, you might need to speak up because you're not exactly by my side now, are you?
Do you miss me?
I'd rather be doing this alongside you.
It's strange, isn't it? It's such a strange time, and obviously, hence why
It is the word, isn't it?
hence why we're doing this via the good old interweb. So, apologies for the quality in some areas, but I'm sure we'll redeem it in others. So, yes, Mossy, you went on the BMW F900XR and F900R launch, didn't you?
I did. Down in Spain, in Almeria. Shall I tell you a story?
Well, first, let's roll VT.
Right, this is what's known in the trade as a brief intro. Mossy here from 44 Teeth. I'm in the south of Spain. I'm in Almeria, and I'm going to jump aboard BMW's new 2020 F900XR and F900R. I don't know too much about them, but I'm going to ride them, tell you what they're like to ride, and then add a bit of technical jargon for you to understand them more as well. How's about that then?
So, Mossy, it was a bit of a tricky one because you rode the S1000 XR first, didn't you? And it was piss wet during that launch. It was a bit of a three-bike extravaganza. So then the day after the XR, you get the chance to ride... Which one did you ride first?
The F900R, the naked one.
Okay.
Do you know what? Pulled away from the hotel and I thought, oh, this is my sort of bike. Really light, punchy, super agile, flickable toy, you know. I just thought, right, I'm going to misbehave on this thing very soon. But this is what really spoilt the day a bit. Frank, the lead rider, lovely man, was slow motion personified. I thought I was going to need a shave before I got to the end of this ride. I'll tell you, he was going so slow. It's untrue. I mean, I thought we were doing some fuel consumption test or something. You know? And anyway, he asked me at the lunch stop if everything was all right. And I sort of gave him both barrels. I said, mate, we're not testing the sodding bike here. We're going too slow, you know. At which point he says, oh, well, we need to be careful. We need to sort of stay together. I said, look, we're grown-ups, you know. At which point he gave me a funny look, quite rightly. But credit to him, he did respond to my mini bollocking and we went a lot more speedily after lunch. But you know what? Though I liked this bike, I think trying to tell a bigger and fuller story than that is impossible because I didn't ride it at proper pace for long enough. Look, as I said, it's a light, fun thing. Motor's great, you know, just a punchy, sort of responsive, always something there for you type thing. Feels easy to chuck about. I mean, we rode the TE version, which is the highest spec of the two versions. You use your standard and then your TE, and that's got a higher spec to it, and it's got Corin ABS, it's got a Lecky shock, it's got more riding modes, etc. I mean, I don't know about you. What do you think of the look of it? I think it's sort of quite retina pleasing, but it's no award winner. There's something German about it, isn't there?
It's very Germanic. It is very Germanic. Yeah. But I've got to say, when I first looked at it, I thought, oh, that looks a bit spicy, that. I'll take that. Yeah. And there's something, I don't know whether they got a new designer. Well, I know that BMW have got a new designer, but whether or not it's come down to the F900R yet. But I don't know, there's something quite nice to look at. I like it. Definitely like it, yeah. Would you say this is a proper naked bike, as in a sporty naked bike?
Yeah, it's a good question, actually, because at several points during the ride, well, once we got up to sort of above 60 miles an hour, I thought, you know what, this will make a good first sort of sports bike. I'll tell you why, because it's easy and it's not threatening. It's got all the sort of hallmarks of a sports bike. You know, you can rush it. Everything works well. You know, suspension, brakes, feels safe.
Yeah.
And you can get a buzz from it. but at no point, unless you're completely bonkers, will it frighten you.
Okay.
So definitely a sports bike,
Yeah.
definitely a naked, definitely sort of one of these fun bikes with a bit of attitude.
Yeah.
They haven't died. They haven't been fully dramatic. They haven't been fully Germanic and dialed out all the attitude completely. You know, it's a BM, but it's not dull.
No, okay. And is it safe to say, I mean, in previous bikes, certainly the F800 and all that sort of thing, the electronics have almost, when you try to ride it hard, that's when you're reminded that you can't, because the ABS is really intrusive. And as
No, I wouldn't say that.
No?
I think once you get in the dynamic pro setting,
Okay.
stuff doesn't get in the way, really. I mean, the only time it's going to sort of act is to save you from a fall, you know. I mean, we rode it on some pretty dodgy roads at places. I mean, the photo shoot, you didn't want to crash during that time, I'll tell you. A lot of twisty roads, a lot of places to get seriously hurt if you left the route, you know. You know, I love that expression, left the road, as though it was some sort of voluntary act. You didn't want to do that. But no, I felt good and safe on it, and I did like the fact that I had that paraphernalia there if I wanted, but it never really got triggered.
Okay.
Except when I was trying to wheelie it. I forgot to turn the traction off.
So you look like a disabled kangaroo then?
I don't think I looked that good, actually.
No, okay.
No. And only when that was pointed out to me did I stand a chance of lofting it. But no, I think there's a possibility of raving about that, but I need to do a lot more on it than I did out in Spain.
So as always, I mean, you know, you're very honest, and people love that about your reviewing. So sounds like a decent bike. We've got to say, sounds like a decent bike. Is there
Very decent bike, possibly more.
Okay, very good to hear. So, is there anything that you don't like then?
Got a bit windy at speed, obviously, so I think its sort of versatility is a bit limited. But there was a bit of an issue with it, which I noticed as soon as I left the hotel. I mean, the throttle was like a bloody switch, man.
Is it?
Both opening it, you know, when you got a kick, and when you shut it, it felt like somebody had hit the bloody kill switch. Quite naturally, once you sort of ride it a bit further and sort of suss out a way around it, you notice it less. But it's a Euro 5 bike. I don't know if that explains it. However, that is a bit of a shortcoming. It's not right, you know.
That is kind of a lot of the way things are going with Euro 5 bikes, is that they have to run them so lean to get them through emissions.
I think combined with the punch of the engine, you know, you twist the throttle, you didn't get everything, and then you got a proper punch.
Yeah.
And a kick. And then similarly, when you rolled off, it just died a bit.
Okay.
It didn't ruin it, but it tainted it slightly, you know.
Well, if you don't mind me, Mossy, I'll just have a quick sip of my Thatcher's Gold.
Well, I'll have some tea, shall I? I think you've been a bit more rock and roll than me today, Al.
There's nothing rock and roll about me, mate.
Your wife tells me that as well.
It sounds like a proper weapon, this. I mean, where do you see it? Obviously, it's a sporty naked, so realistically, it's not a street triple, though, is it? Where do you see it? I mean, you've got your kind of Japanese middleweights like the Z900 and those sort of things, and then, you know, KTMs and Dukes and stuff. Where do you see it nestling?
Right, not a KTM 790, definitely not. Not a Duke 790. And not a speed triple.
Street triple.
I don't know, an alternative to those, a slightly more sane and sensible alternative to those.
Okay.
And do you know what? I say that, and I say it with some sort of relevance, I think, because when I rode that Duke 790, I was glad to give it back because I only got a ban. Just turn in a complete and utter lunatic. I won't live tell you what I was getting up to.
No.
But my defence was the bike made me do it. That BM isn't like that. You can have sort of controlled, you can have grown up fun if you like. You don't have to break too many rules. It doesn't turn you into a monster.
But will it keep up with a street triple and a Duke? Just
Yeah,
maybe.
the same rider would not be as fast on the BM. It's the sort of the alternative for BM owners. I think BM owners should like it.
Yeah. So let's get onto the XR then, because I mean, arguably this could be the most important bike, or one of the most important bikes for BMW this year. Lots and lots of people raving about it, saying they like the look of it and the sound of it and the concept of it. Does this concept translate into real life?
Dead right it does.
Does it?
I mean, man, I really, really enjoyed riding this thing.
Okay.
Again, we're a bit limited. The weather was a bit naff at times, and it wasn't the longest of routes. But I reckon it took me 100 yards to start like in this bike. You know?
Okay.
You know how certain bikes just sort of get a hold of you from the off? This was definitely one of those. I mean, I'm tempted to predict. I think the Mossy predictor thinks and hopes that it does really well and sells a ton. It's like a sort of, it's like a compact mini sort of GS in terms of its all-round ability.
Yeah.
But it's got a bit of thrill factor. It was, yeah, like I say, just I'm enjoying thinking about it now. You know how bikes stay with you.
Yeah.
Would have been I say this quite often, but it would have been a real treat to ride it back home from Malaga to the UK. You know, I would have one of these bikes gladly.
Okay.
Yes, that is a hint.
So there's lots of people saying, "Oh, why is there an F900 XR and there's an 1000 XR?" But they're very, very, very different bikes, aren't they? Obviously, the 1000 is a proper superbike engine, and this is almost half the power, really. And obviously, it's a twin.
I'm not sure which I'd choose of the two. It's not as straightforward as you want. I mean, you'll probably have to ask me again in another 5 minutes what I'd prefer, because that XR 1000 is a bit of a horny bike, and this is 60 horsepower nearly down on that, and it sort of shows at times, but it's just so easy to boss about and not really get scared by, everything it's got you can put to good effect. You're not having to sort of worry or meter the throttle too much, or worry that you're just going a bit over the top. It's just a lovely sorted package. But it can also do anything else that you want. Apart from going a bit bonkers on it and feeling happy doing that, you can definitely do big mileage on this thing. Okay, I only did 100 miles, but that impression you get straight away as soon as you plonk yourself in the seat. Nice riding position, ace screen on the fairing, good fairing. The screen 2 position, you just adjust it in an instant with a little lever. I wish bloody Suzuki's V-Strom was as similar to and as easy to adjust. Decent tank range. Again, the fueling was a bit abrupt, not quite right. And though it weighs nearly 220 kilos wet, didn't seem to matter. Doesn't really have a sharp geometry either, but it doesn't matter. It just boss. And just make it do what you want to do without protest, without any sort of issues at all. Nice and stable. Just felt sort of accurate, when you were steering it. Nice fluid sort of feel, It also had, as BMW quite cheaply have a reputation for doing, a few extras bolted to it, like the quick shifter, up and down quick shifter.
So that's not standard?
Not standard. 330 quid extra.
Okay.
It had keyless ignition, fancy suspension, a lot of the things that you could buy as extras were on it.
On the XR now, too tight to make comment. I'm knackered. It's 10 degrees, it's not raining, that'll do. Robert has, like all the other tour guides, laid down quite a few rules. Don't misbehave, he says. Don't go too fast, he says. I'm hoping he's faster than the bloke we had yesterday, because he was fucking just dull. I must admit, he doesn't look like he does too many track days. Quick comment, this bike feels totally different to the R. I've just got on with it straight away. I think it's got I don't know, it's just much more endearing so much sooner. It sort of feels peppy, a bit more lively. Can't imagine what the hell that is that's sort of causing that. The other thing is there is a direct link between the traction control, ABS and suspension settings, dependent on the mode you choose. So it all shifts the whole. It is, as it says, a mode, but it affects all three of the, well, engine, suspension, ABS and traction. That will be all. The fairing is very good as well, and this here screen is easily adjusted like it is on the 1000, and the protection is very good. There's no way I would wouldn't keenly ride the R back to the UK, but this one, piece of cake. Go on, go on, go on, go on. Try, man, try, give it large. Go on, go on. Now it's that horrible patchy stuff. Fucking hell, it feels like it's about 8 at night. 10 to 9 in the morning, it's fucking dark as hell. Bloody good road this. Look how bloody foggy it is here. The glamour of a bike launch. It's a proper pea super. And it's slippery as buggery. It sounds good, this thing, as well. Actually, wait a minute, let's just do that. This road surface is fucking pants. Bike feels fairly safe on it, will do. This should be fucking knee down, but I don't think I'm quite brave enough today. Fucking shit. I'd say that was rather dangerous.
What are the major differences between the R and the XR then? Obviously it's looks, and I'm guessing the XR is, is dialed in to be more versatile and that sort of thing. So, but you seem to like the XR a lot more. How is that?
I think because it can do pretty much everything the R can do and a whole load more.
Okay.
When I was riding it, I just thought, I like this R, but I would like to ride over this bugger.
Mm.
Whereas the opposite was very much true on the XR. Just more ability, full stop, It's got a lot of good ingredients. It's a very, very good package. And as I say, I'll be amazed if it doesn't do really well. Virus withstanding, of course.
What can you list the differences between the two bikes then? Give us a brief rundown of the differences between the XR and the R.
Yeah, obvious differences between the two. The XR's got a fairing, but the riding position, it's got slightly higher bars and the footrests are a bit more relaxed. Just gives it a different feel altogether. It's funny how a few little changes like that can make a radical difference in the way it just feels and the way you feel riding it. It's got a taller seat, and it's about 8 kilos heavier as well. But the motor's the same. The level of equipment is roughly the same. You get the Lecky shock as standard on the SE version of the R, where you have to buy it on the Ting version of the XR. But yeah, by and large, riding position and fairing, tank range, and general weight are the key differences.
Now, this all sounds rather nice, but...
Rather nice? That's a bit British, is it not?
It sounds rather nice, Mossy, but what are the prices? Because I'm not just saying this, I don't have a clue. So, for dramatic effect, I'm going to go live. What are the prices?
Right, your basic R is 8,660 quid. Not bad.
That's not bad.
Not bad. There's an argument to say that you should go for the SE because though that is 9,780 quid, you do get a fair bit extra for your money in terms of the corner and ABS, the extra riding modes, you know, the fancier traction.
Okay.
Right, your basic XR is 9,825. Again, not bad. Yeah. Well, given what it'll do, I think that's decent money. Your TE version is 10,685 quid.
Okay, so it's pretty reasonable actually, isn't it?
Yeah, I reckon it is. Because I'm a useless old plumber who's had too many bangs on the head, I was comparing that to another bike, but I've forgotten what it is. So... You might have gathered this, but I properly rated. You know how some bikes just work for you, and just put you in a good mood. That was definitely that sort of bike for me. You can get a lower version as well. You can lower the suspension. You know, you get one of those lowered bikes, and you can get a lower seat as well.
Okay.
So I mean, I was just about touching the floor okay with it. I'd be all right, I think, with it in standard trim.
And you're 4'10".
Only if I've got some Gary Glitter bloody platforms on, like. I don't really want to associate myself.
I was going to say, let's not say Gary. No, let's not mention Gary. Gary Hartshorn, yes, not Gary Glitter.
Can you imagine Gary Hartshorn in platforms? You know, don't ever think that when you're going for the apex of a corner. You will be in the hedge. Can you see my shirt?
Hey. I suppose a lot of you have been asking why I'm wearing a cap, and that's because it's day 24 of the lockdown or something, and I haven't cut my hair for over 25 days, so it's looking...
Give us a glimpse.
No, mate, it's a surprise. It's all coming off at the end. So when all of this ends, this is going to come off.
When is the end?
We don't know. We don't know, but I'm not cutting my hair until the end, and I'm going to grow a rat's tail. That's the aim, anyway. So...
You might have grown a rope by then, never mind a rat's tail.
So thanks, Mossy. Hope next time we get to poke each other in person. But stop it. Stop calling me. Stop it. Yes, I hope we next time we get to meet up in person. And thanks for your time, sir.
No bother. Pleasure recalling what was a good time in Spain.
Ciao, Mossy. Ciao, ciao, ciao.